Hey friends, this is Danielle again. Thank you for moving with me in this mobility flow. This is about 30 minutes that just really helps you connect your spine with your legs. You need no equipment, but if you want to, I've got some bricks next to me that I can use to just help me elevate my arms if I need. We're going to start all the way down on the floor. So just come onto your hands and your knees. We're going to stay on our fingertips today, and I'm going to curl my toes under so I have a little bit of activation through my hamstrings. Start to drag your shoulder blades down and pull your chest through your arms. This is a little stretch. I like to bend my elbows slightly so I really get that squeeze. And then push the floor away. Tuck your chin in and just press the space between your shoulder blades apart. A couple more like this to drag up and then to push through. So if you think in terms of push and pull, when you're moving your chest through, it's like a pull. You are pulling your shoulders down. And then when you round your upper back, it's a push. You're pushing your fingers through the floor. Just twice more like this to really find that connection. And if there is a little part of your back that's a little bit sore or tired or sensitive, make a note of it now so you can be kind to it throughout your session. This is your last one. We're going to take a little kick out to the side, so reach your left leg off to the edge of your mat. I'm actually going to turn so you can see me, but you can just stay as you are. I want your left foot to go flat, and your right knee is underneath your hip. Your fingers are down just in front of your shoulders, and just start to rock your weight back. I'm being really active through this foot, so I feel the stretch on the inside of my leg. Just little shifts forward and back. You can play with this kind of cat and cow shape as well. This feeling of arching and rounding your back. If you really think about moving your pelvis under and then releasing it, it will help the stretch be a little more effective for your legs. Just a few more to breathe in some space to your legs. If you've done a heavy leg session yesterday, or if you've done a lot through your shoulders recently, just taking it down a notch. The next time you come up, we're going to hold. Really keep your hips stacked over your knee. Take your left arm all the way up overhead and feel like you can move the shoulders away from your ear. As you exhale, you're going to thread all the way through. Think of the shoulder going across the mat so you can drop your head into a twist. And we'll rinse and repeat. So the left arm spirals up. My hips naturally turn a little. You can allow it for a few, but then we're going to keep them still and see if we can keep that rotation. So for these few, just let your hips and your chest move together. It should feel quite nice through your back. One last one before we're a little bit more steady. Same thing, but now try to keep your hips a little more fixed. There's a slight hinge in your hips, and it's your left arm that goes up. Notice that my arm doesn't go as far because my hips are steady. And as I thread through, just feel your hips stay balanced. 3 more times. Inhale to reach up. Exhale to reach through. There's something really beautiful about repeating a shape or a movement over and over. Your body starts to get used to that sensation, so it will let you go further. We're going to hold this last one. As you reach the arm across, let your hips sink back towards your heels slightly and move your shoulders away from your ears. You can rest the side of your head on the floor and just hold. Maybe you want to nudge your hand a tiny bit further and look up towards the sky. We're going to hold it there for 2 more breaths. Make this your last breath. And then draw up to your hands. Your right hand is going off in line with your knee, fingers facing out. Now push your hips forward so you take out the crease of your hip. If you find your hand doesn't really reach the floor, this is a nice time to put a brick underneath your shoulder. Or if you want the hand to go down, just check that you're not having to sit back. You're going to take your left hand behind your head, take a big breath in to peel open through the chest, and then exhale to close. Sit towards your heel, feel your elbow tap your thumb. 4 more times like this. Inhale to drive everything open. Exhale to close it off. 3 more times. Ring your chest up. Exhale. Last 2. Let everything close down. Final time, lift up. Everything close down. We're going to hold at the top for just 2 breaths. Push your hips forward. Look up towards the sky and try to lean your head back into your hand. Send the elbow up and back as well so you get the longest stretch that you can through the edge of your neck, through the edge of your shoulder, and down through the edge of your hip. For one more breath. And then just bringing yourself around. We're going to turn to face forward. You're going to step your right foot outside your right hand so you're nice and low in a lunge. Take a second to have a little shift, a little rock onto your hips. And then land your back knee on the floor. You might feel like you need a little bit more movement here. I really encourage you to not feel like you need to be still, especially at the beginning of a stretch. Give your body a little bit of wiggle room, and it will let you go deeper than if you just tried to hold it really still. We're going to take a twist. Your right arm's going to rotate up and back. Then pull the elbow towards your thumb. It really helps to bend the other elbow to help you get low. 4 more times. Inhale to go up. Exhale to twist. Last 3. Inhale up. Each time you can see if you can twist your chest a little more. Your hips are pretty fixed in place, so you can really trust your back to just move all the way up. Your last one's going to be a hold. If your elbow does meet the floor, land both forearms and look over your left shoulder. If your elbow hasn't quite made it yet, just keep both hands down, but bend the elbows a little so you get lower. We're going to take just a breath here. Know that you don't have to be still. You can move through it. 1 more breath in. 1 more breath out. And then walk your hands in a little bit more. We're going to take a twist. Lift up your back foot. Let it fall over the edge and start to sink down. So there's a little bit of a stretch through the inside of your thigh. It can also help to use this right arm to push the knee back so you kind of feel this long line between your hips. And then turn yourself forward, lift up the back knee and just look up for a moment. You will feel your hips may sink lower. Couple more like this. So you're rotating out, and you might find that when you start, you're quite high up here. That's absolutely fine. Just keep your hands on your thighs. And then you replace them to lift the knee, look up. This is a really good one to do as a warm-up before you do leg training as well, because you just get your hip to rotate in all the ways that it was meant to. A couple more like this. If you feel you can go deeper, try to push your hips forward so you get more space, and then take it up. This is our last one. Send your foot out, push your hips forward. You can hold it here. If you want to go deeper, just use your elbow to push back and use your left arm to reach away. You can also put your hand on the floor for another breath. And then come forward. We're coming towards our lunge. Take a little rock forward and back. Now we're going to take rocks back. So curl your back toes under, sit towards your heel so you get a little stretch. You may want to walk back. And then bring yourself all the way up. Lift your back knee. Just a couple more like this. Drop the knee. Curl your toes under at the back and walk yourself down to a little stretch. And then walk forward, lift the back knee again. We've got 2 more like this. So sink your back knee down, curl the toes under, crawl back, and you might find you start with your chest quite high. How low your chest goes is irrelevant. How well you feel the stretch is much more important. So this is your last one here. We're going to take a little hold, maybe a little rock, for just 1 more breath in and 1 more breath out. Then stay on this knee. You're coming up with your hands on just underneath your shoulders. Your right toes are really pulled towards the sky. Notice that my hip is straight over my knee because that's going to help me get a deeper stretch. I'm going to do a little pulse. So I'm imagining that my legs are drawing in towards each other and then releasing. It's a tiny little action like this. But this little pulse is just a little neural trigger to help the hamstring go a little further. It's like this little mini contraction of the leg and release. And if you can, do it with your hands on the floor. And we're just pulsing back and releasing, like your right hip is pulling into the socket and then releasing. And if you're doing this right, you should really feel a big stretch through your hamstring, even though it doesn't look like you're doing much. We've got 2 more. Make this your last one. Hold for a moment. You can move the shoulder blades away. I know you want to drop your head, but try to keep your chest lifted, almost like the very beginning of a back bend. Just 1 more breath in. 1 more breath out. Okay, and then bringing it down, we're going to come up to a downward dog. Lift your hips back. Take a little movement through your legs. Take your feet as wide as the mat and walk your hands back so you're in a forward fold. Really nice time to just let your head shake out, let your spine move around, be really, really relaxed. Even take some little bounces through the center, not too intense, but just enough to really feel this reach. Sometimes these bounces can feel nice if you rock over from one side to the other, but just kind of getting your body to be heavy, let it go for a moment. And then we're gonna get it a little bit more strength. You're gonna loop your thumbs together, reach your hands forward, and think about creating a ski slope in your back. So really arch or tip your tailbone away. Belly pulls towards your spine and you reach as far as you possibly can. Then scoop yourself halfway and reach all the way through. We're just doing 8, so breathe up, exhale 1, breathe up, exhale 2, inhale, breathe out to reach. Each time you're trying to reach further without your back rounding, keeping this really straight leg line. Even if your hands don't touch, you're gonna find you go a little further each time. This is your last one. Forward and up. Reach through, hold it there. Try to reach a little more with your fingertips and you can turn them around. If your knees need to be a little bent, you can also stay here. But if they are straight, just really check that you haven't started to dome your back. There is a feeling of expansion from your chest. One more breath in. One more breath out. And then bring yourself all the way back down. Land your knees on the floor. I'm just gonna swivel around. So turn around to face the other edge of your mat. Take a little cat and cow again. So lift your chest, find an arch, and use your exhale to scoop in. One more time, inhale to arch. Exhale to scoop in. Turn to face the long edge of your mat. So your right leg is now extended. Put your hands forward. We're doing that same cat and cow, but with a little rock. So foot goes really flat. Start to sit back and really stick your hips away. Then scoop your ribs, come in. Couple like this to sink back and to draw forward. You've got 3 more. Reach back and release. Last 2. And back. Last one, hold it at the back for a moment. Just feel that stretch. Really feel your hips sink down. And the more you press into this foot, the stronger the stretch will be. When you're ready, when your next exhale happens, come up. We're gonna take a twist. So really keep this imprinted. This time it's the right arm that twists up. Let your hip open with you so your arm goes back really far. And then breathe out to reach around. Let the side of your head tap the floor. Couple more like this, just keeping the hip and the shoulder really free. Use your exhale to reach through. Let's do one more like this. And then a couple keeping our hips a little bit more level. Imagine that you are balancing something on your lower back. So it's really your upper back that has to work to twist through. Our upper back normally is the thing that gets stuck, when really it should be free to rotate. The bones were made to twist, so just reintroduce that feeling. This is your last one before hold, reach up. And as you exhale through, hold it here. If your shoulder doesn't really land, that's absolutely fine. Just pull your shoulders down and turn your gaze up. If you feel your shoulder can go a bit further, still check that your hips are level. Mine likes to drop down. Really find that balance line. And just hold for one more breath in. And on your exhale coming up, your left hand is down, fingers face away. I'm still firm through this side. Know that you can be elevated with this shoulder. It's straight over your wrist. Right hand behind your back. And inhale to breathe up. Exhale, elbow towards your thumb. And again, you're going to inhale, twist everything up. Exhale, let everything drop. Couple more, inhale. Exhale down. If you're like me, one side will feel different than the other. That's not a bad thing. It's actually really good if you notice that, because it means you're paying attention. It means you are aware of how your body is transforming. This is a hold as you push your hips forward. Make sure you're taking out the crease of your hip. Your hand goes behind your head and you can lean back into your hand. Really breathe some space into the side of the rib cage. For one more breath in. One more breath out. And then facing forward, you're stepping your foot outside your hand, so you're low in a lunge. Drop your back knee, take a little shift from side to side. Again, get comfy on this way. We're going back into our twists. Really feeling like your hips are quite steady and your upper back is allowed to move. So carry your left arm up, look over the shoulder. Squeeze your glute as well. As you wrap the elbow down, you're reaching for your thumb. And inhale, unravel. So you will feel your shoulders really start to move. And as your shoulder blades slide, that will help your upper back, your thoracic spine just become a little more free. If you've done a heavy leg workout, you might feel this a lot in the stretch around your glutes and around your hips. Notice if that's the case, that's amazing. You're doing something really special to help it recover. This last one is a hold, so twist up. As you come down, both hands over to the right corner, you can stay. If you feel your elbow can touch down, try to bring both elbows down and just look over to the right. We're gonna hold for just 2 more breaths. Know that you can have little rocks or you can be still if that's better for you. But this is your last breath like this. And then bringing yourself up, lift up your back foot. You're gonna let it fall behind you and start to sink your weight into the back knee so you feel a little stretch. You may want to use your other arm to push the left knee back. Back towards your lunge, lift up the knee, take a little rock forward. And onto your knee. If you feel like you're on a marble floor or something that's quite hard, feel free to put a little bit of padding under your knee. Know that this should feel like a stretch for your muscles, but definitely not a grinding of any joints or any bones. Be kind to yourself. We're here for a couple more, so let the knee drop down. If you feel you're quite high, that's absolutely fine. Just feel like the thighs are rotating away from each other. And then coming forward, little rock. This next one is a hold. As you drop the knee, step the foot behind. You're sinking your weight down, not to the heel, but just to the inside of your heel, and you can hold. If you want, use your arms to push out. You can use your elbow in or your fingertips down. Maybe use your right hand to send the thigh long, like you're extending the thigh away from your hip. You've got just 1 more breath in, 1 more breath out. And then bringing it forward, come back towards your lunge, rock it away. And we're gonna take little rocks back. So let your back knee land, sink towards the foot, and see if you can crawl your hands back for a little hamstring stretch. Then bring yourself forward. Little lift if you like. Take it back, drop the head. And little shift forward, lift the knee. Couple more like this, rock it back, drop the head. Coming forward, lift the knee. Last time like this, drop it back. Take a fold, so you're really letting it hinge. It can be nice to just stay a bit higher and pull your shoulders down. If you don't feel enough stretch, really imagine you could dig your foot through the floor as if the heel was driving down, and that should create a little bit more intensity. Then bringing yourself up, your hip is over your knee, your hands are on the inside of your leg, and you're flexing your toes up. This is that little pull, that little contraction to squeeze and release. Like you are slotting your left hip into the socket and then letting go. If you don't feel this much, just check that your chest is open rather than rounded. And you're really imagining your heel reaching towards your back knee and your back knee reaching towards your heels. So it's like your legs are scissors that close and open. This little pulse of your legs and then release. The pulse of your muscles and then release. Couple more like this. Last 2. Last one. Take a little hold. Really lift the chest. See if the heel can reach a little further through the floor as your shoulders move down. 1 more breath. Nice, guys. And then from there, just bring it back to your downward dog. Walk your legs out for a moment. Maybe move through the ankles. Give your head a little sway. You're going to step your left foot forward and face the side of your mat, so you're quite long on your mat. Your toes are facing the short edge of your mat. Send your fingers forward. If they don't easily touch, use a brick to just elevate the floor slightly. We're going to take little rocks from side to side, so start to bend your right knee and feel like you could sit a little towards the heel, but don't let your toes come off on the other side. Then inhale up and go the other way, little bend, and back up. Keep going if you don't need a brick. The same thing with your fingers on the floor. This feeling of the knee shifting out and your hips dropping to the center. Your toes continue to face forward, just little rocks from edge to edge here. Freeing up the space all the way through. 2 more times. Make this your last one in each direction. And then we're going to hold in the center. Bring your hands together. Take your right arm up. Allow your chest to rotate open and hold it here. You can wrap the arm behind your back and really look up. This is where we like to drop our head, but I encourage you to keep your chest lifted like you're doing a little bit of a back bend, so there is space in your spine to breathe. If it feels uncomfortable for your neck to look up, you can just look straight ahead of you, but really visualize the shoulders moving down and find the stretch through your spine. You can also feel free to have little rocks forward and back with your chest. You've got just one more breath. And we'll change over. Swap your hands. Again, feel free to be on a brick if you need to. You are keeping the shape up with the arm wrapped behind your back. You can hold it here. My hips naturally drop over to one side more to help me twist further. That's absolutely fine as long as your quads are engaged. When you're ready to go further, just pull the shoulders down and look up. You can stay. If you want a little more, your hand might feel like it's ready to go down on the floor, and feel free to take little rocks up and down, or just hold. We've got one more breath together in, and one more breath together out. And then release down. Nice, guys, we're gonna come all the way to the floor. Turn yourself towards one edge of your mat, land on your knees. Take your knees a little further apart, and let your hips sink towards your heels. Take a little rock from side to side. Just maybe let your head shake, let your neck roll around from one way to the other. I'm going to finish with a little side stretch. So take your hands over towards the left. You can put one hand on top of another or just one next to another. Pull your right shoulder down and take a little lean to the edge. Close your eyes. It's a nice time to let your head drop, even if this isn't a really intense stretch, just to kind of reset your recovery mode, to get your body becoming a little bit heavier. You might feel like the stretch is really intense through one side. If you do want to make it even deeper, move your hips away from this hand for one more breath in and one more breath out. And then change sides, walk your hands all the way over to the other side. Your hips shift over, your hands reach across, and your head drops down. The same thing on this side. Really let your head drop to the side so it becomes more of a lat stretch, more of a pull through the side of your body. Give your neck a break. Let your head rest on your arm. And then bringing yourself through center. Sit on your heels, or if that's not comfortable, just sit comfortably on the ground. Take your hands towards the back of your head. Doing 3 little breaths to finish. I want you to inhale and really expand through the chest. As you exhale, let everything close. 2 more times. Inhale, lift everything up. Exhale, let everything close. Last time, we're going to hold it open. Inhale, lift everything up. Hold it there. Let your arms release. Let your chin come in. And then give your shoulders a little roll. Thanks for moving with me today. I will see you soon. Peace.